Once a great Mahatma had come to Dakshineshwar, and Sri Ramakrishna realized that he is a great Mahatma, and people in general realize that he is a great Mahatma. And after everybody had eaten, the leaf plates used to be thrown, and there the dogs would pounce upon those leaves to get the leftover, whatever was there. And that sadhu, he would just go with the dogs and take food from there. And dogs never barked at him. It's beautifully described in Sri Ramakrishna's biography. And seeing those things, Sri Ramakrishna was quaking in fear. Hridayaram, his nephew, was with him, and Sri Ramakrishna was in tears. Oh, Hridayaram, do you think I will have to go through these situations? Will I have to go through these experiences? And Sri Ramakrishna had to go. Why? Because a time comes when it's absolutely non-dual. But life cannot continue in that state. So that sadhu, when he was going away, Hridayaram wanted to learn something from him, and that sadhu had told that when you feel that ordinary water and Ganga water, they are all same, then you know that you have reached the state of Vedanta. You don't distinguish. You don't distinguish between the high and low. You don't distinguish between life and death. You don't distinguish between virtue and vice. There is no distinction left. The little distinction that is there is just for namesake. It's just for the continuation of life. So, absolute reality and relative existence, you need to keep in mind. God alone has become everything. Tiger is also God. It's the same God. That doesn't mean that you'll go and embrace tiger. No, you won't. And why not? If you are Atman, if you are one with God, what stops you from doing? Someone I know sent me a mail a few days ago that if we are Sachidananda, then what is the need for doing spiritual practices? I am Brahman, I am Atman. So why do I need to do spiritual practices? And if I am Atman, why should I distinguish between this and that person? Because you are Atman, no doubt. Are you able to practice that in your daily life? Why is it that when it comes to your spiritual practices, when it comes to your struggle, there you say that you are Atman. And when it comes to enjoying life, you are one with the world. Why this duplicity? Why this hypocrisy? You will see that that when it comes to religious practices, in most cases, we have duplicity. And those who are little better, they have hypocrisy. Those who are little better, they are insincere. So you need to classify yourself, categorize yourself. Swami Vivekananda used to say that those who come to the path of religion, 80% of them become charlatans, cheats. And 15% lose their head, they go mad. Only the 5% succeed. Well, it was a general classification, shouldn't be taken very seriously. But it is a fact. Once you take to the path of religion and spirituality, if you are a noble soul, you end up being insincere. If you are a little less noble, you become hypocrite. And if you are further less noble, your behavior becomes extremely duplicitous. It's a complete duplicity. Duplicity is more severe form of hypocrisy. Why? Because when it comes to others, you keep on talking about God is everything, Atman is there, Atman alone exists. But when it comes to your daily life, you do not practice that. When somebody points at your mistakes, you talk about Advaita. So you want to have the best of the both worlds without struggling for the either. This is why Swamiji talks about this. And from there, if you are really into Advaita, when it comes to your worship, the whole sky is a censer of God. Censer is that there's a in earlier temples there used to be some pots where incense was burnt, censer, and sun and moon are the lamps. What temple is needed? If you can see this universe as the huge temple where sun and moon are like the lamps and sky is the censer, do you need a temple? No, you don't need. Can it be practiced? Yes. There was a time when Sri Ramakrishna was seeing God as Virat. Virat, the manifestation of God as the big. And at that time, all the trees that were at Dakshineshwar, he used to see them as bouquets of flower offered in front of that Virat. In a temple, there is an idol or there is a photograph, and you put flower vases and you put flower bouquets or simply flowers. But when you are seeing this entire universe as manifestation of God, so these small flowers will not do. And there, the entire forests and the trees, they are like offering to God. And all eyes are thine, yet thou hast not an eye. Now, this is a very interesting statement here. All hands are thine, yet thou hast not a hand. In the Vedas, God is often mentioned as Purusha, which means the conscious thing, Purusha, that which resides inside the city. The body is a city and the universe is a city. He says, Sahasra Shirsa Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. And this concept was later on taken by the Upanishads, where they're talking about Sarvata Pani Padam Tat Sarvatokshi Shiromukam. This is in Gita. And at the same time, in the same breath, in the very next verse, the idea comes that he is beyond all this. To impress the idea that God is all seeing, God is pure consciousness, he knows everything, he hears everything, he does everything. Such mantras were composed by the sages. And because our understanding is so limited and our minds are so crude that we cannot grasp the subtle ideas. And because we cannot grasp the subtle ideas, this kind of verse, this kind of discussion has to come again and again. Swamiji talks about the highest reality, and every now and then he breaks into how to practice that. Now, supposing you really want to practice Vedanta, you really want to be religious, whatever your religion is, and whatever your philosophy of life is, whether you are a devotee type, or you are a yogi, or you are a jnani. Jnani means one who goes for Vedanta. So what is the key? Neither seek nor avoid. Now, see, take what comes. When I was pretty young, brahmachari, the early days of my monastic life, so I had read this avoid not, seek not. This is something Swamiji used often in Karma Yoga also, here also. Neither seek nor avoid, and he would say poetically, avoid not, seek not. I found it so fascinating. There is a rhythm about it. Seek not, avoid not, seek not, avoid not. And I found it so fascinating. I tried to practice it for many years. Then I found that no, it's pretty difficult. Cannot be done in a day. This comes from the fundamental practice in every form of religion and practically every path of religion. It says raga dvesh. The technical term is rag and dvesh. Rag means attachment, where you seek out something. You love something, you feel happy there, you feel comfortable there, so you want to go near it, you want to have it. And dvesh is you feel uncomfortable with it, you find the thing annoying, and it pushes you back. Something like attraction and repulsion. Magnetic poles also have this tendency of attracting and repelling. Birds also have this. Everything has, minds have this tendency. You attract certain things and you are repelled by certain things. In Hindu religion, the technical term for these two are rag and dvesh, attachment, aversion. And Swamiji says it poetically, neither seek nor avoid, take what comes. Because when you go downstream, your floating is very comfortable. You don't have to struggle for anything. But if you start swimming, if you start swimming upstream, you don't have to swim downstream. When you swim upstream, you have to struggle very hard. And then whatever is coming from above, you have absolutely no control over it. This is a favorite example that I use when I talk about worldly life and spiritual life. See, those of you who are listening, I assume that practically every one of you is in the world, because monks generally don't like to hear words from a monk. So it's a monks generally have this attitude and this thinking that they know everything. So I assume that everyone who is listening is from this world. You think that the world is so difficult to live in. You think that you have so many problems, but you don't realize that it is so easy for you to organize things. Like floating with the stream. You are going downstream. You are going down, down, and down. Things you don't like, you can push away. Things you like, you can pull. But once you start your journey upward, once you are going upward, in Inspired Talks earlier, Swamiji had one place mentioned that if you really become noble, if you are striving to be noble, you will see that you will have to face too many problems. People who are noble, they face too many problems. Why? Because their journey has become upstream. They're moving upstream. A tribal who is living in a forest with his tribe, he doesn't have to struggle much. He just needs a full belly and little bit of entertainment, little bit of hunting, and so he doesn't need to struggle hard. But those of you who are striving to be spiritual, you will see how much struggle you have to face day in and day out. So we say it is liberty to be affected by nothing. Do not merely endure, be unattached. Problems will keep coming to you. Don't run away from them. Neither seek pleasurable, nor try to run away from that which annoys you. So, and then Swamiji narrates a story of bull and the mosquito. It is such a beautiful story, and it conveys the idea so beautifully that there was a bull sitting in a forest somewhere, grassland, and one mosquito came and sat on its horn. And after sitting for a long time, the mosquito felt that it was creating such a problem for the bull. And It left its seat, came near the ear of the bull and says, "Sir, I am so sorry. I have annoyed you. I'll go away." I was sitting on your horn. And bull replies, "Oh, no, not at all. Bring your whole family and live on my horn. What can you do to me?" So, if the whole family of the mosquito comes and sits on the horn of a bull, does it affect him? No, it doesn't. So, why we are affected by our problems? Because a drop of water can kill a mosquito. But a bull, an elephant, will not even recognize its existence. We have identified ourselves with such small things that the most trivial of things, most trivial things, little less salt or little more salt in our food annoys us. A little delay in service annoys us. And we are constantly annoyed by this and that. We cannot maintain our calm because our existence is small.